Hello, welcome to the Pint podcast, where our power is pish, but our pints aren't. To introduce ourselves, I'm Caden, and I am joined by my co-host, Dino.
Hi, hello, and welcome back. This is episode 11 now.
Yes.
I've got my tinny ready for the main topic, which today is education. So just our experiences of it, our thoughts on it, just all that good jazz. So, would you like to kick us off?
My first example is student environment, and how, like, depending where you're studying or if you're in a class, it can heavily affect how you actually intake information or do practical stuff. So, like, for me, when I was in high school, in comparison to college, in high school you have classes that are filled with absolute numpties who are loudmouths, just cluttering about, saying stupid shit while I'm just trying to intake what's being said, or I'm trying to do work and I can't because there's just multiple voices going on at once. There's nobody's giving a shit, especially the classes I was being put in, classes I shouldn't have been in. I think environment really is detrimental to the independent person. And this is where college comes in better, where in the college environment, sure, there'll be loudness outside of class, but in class, you're primarily silent or not really saying anything unless you're asking a question. Only lecturers really speaking. The whole reason for that being is in college, you're paying to be there. You're going out your way to be there. You're not going to be a loudmouth or be distracting. It just wouldn't make sense. And I think that's why student environment really matters. Like, it could matter. Maybe I remember in high school, the third floor, whenever you're in any of the classrooms or in the hallway, would always smell of like toast or some strange soup, and it was always off-putting. And I remember during one of the muck-up days, somebody stuck a fish in the vent, and that didn't help.
No, not at all.
And also, mind what?
I mind fucking in high school, you had to like choose a certain amount of classes as well. It's like you could pick, say, like 4 of like classes that you'd actually enjoy or you'd like the topics of, but then you've got to like fill out the rest with just other classes, and you're like, oh, I don't know.
Oh, don't
So
get me
you will
started.
get a lot of classes that people just won't be involved in, or they don't actually want to be in, but they had to take it because it was, a bit mandatory.
Yeah.
Which makes it worse for this sort of thing, because, they'll be sat in the class and chatting away and whatnot.
Like, I think in 4th year, I dropped maths completely, and then in 5th year, I picked it up again because I wanted to. I didn't like the idea of being forced on you, especially with what they were teaching. But then eventually in 5th year, I just left anyway, because as I was saying, student environment just was affecting what was happening too much. I wasn't taking anything in. And when I was taking things in, I was doing all the tests, getting all the tests right, putting in assignments, getting all the assignments right, with only like maybe 2 to 3 days in a week, because my attendance was terrible back then as well, but less than 50%. And that's what I was saying, is like I didn't belong in certain classes because of that, which is why the student environment really matters.
Definitely. Well, I'll move on to my first point of education, and this is actually just the aspect of teaching itself. So it's less of like the learning for myself, but it's like I do quite enjoy like once I know my stuff about certain situations, about certain topics, should I say. I do like telling people and like just teaching them. I don't. There's something a bit satisfying about that, and then seeing them like take it in, And so for me, the main one would obviously be music. That's my that's my strong point. But I could definitely see why a lot of people will get into teaching, and some teachers you'll get are like quite dedicated in what they do, and they do really love teaching the job. So I think if I was to actually ever get into teaching, and I did slightly think about it, but there's a lot more that goes on than just the actual aspect of teaching.
You have to write shit. You have to communicate with everybody.
But it's also like picking what sort of level you want to teach it at, you know? Because if you wanted to teach it at, like, say, in like primary school level, you've got to put up with kids that age, and it's a whole different ball game with those kids than it is people in like high school or people in a college, right? So I feel like best scenario would be to be a college teacher, because then you'll have people in that are actually wanting to do this. They've picked themselves that's the topic they want to get into. But yeah, just the actual aspect of teaching, I quite enjoy it.
You know what?
I've taught a few people like small things over the years.
Because I have very little experience in actually teaching folks. I feel like my way of explaining things, which I take in better, doesn't help others take in things. But over the years, I've learned how to explain things to certain people depending on how they understand stuff. And I'm very far from ever being a teacher in any aspect. But during my computing course last year, there was a point for revision and shit, and it was to revise as a class. So whoever was next to you, you'd help revise. And I had everything down. I understood everything, but two of the guys next to me were not quite getting it into their heads properly.
Yeah.
So I just went over the whole 2 hours of the class, just getting into their heads, and then we did the test. And one of them was 1 mark off failing, but did better because of the revision. But the other one did pass, and he was thanking me and that, and I was like, no, it's all right, it's all right. But it is really a good feeling when you're like, yeah, I helped somebody.
Yeah, and it does actually help you learn as well, because it sort of cements it in your head. It gives you an even stronger understanding, being able to tell someone.
That's very true. I was thinking about that the other day in my class. It's like, how do these lecturers actually manage to keep it in their head? They probably didn't remember it properly the first few times of teaching it, but over the years of constantly doing it, it's probably just stuck with them.
Yeah, definitely.
It's definitely there. But my second one is teachers who are under too much stress or just generally aren't that into being fair to their students. So they give out punishments unwarrantedly or without reason. Just always annoyed me. It's happened to me once, but I've watched it happen to others, and it's just, you can tell that the only reason they're even doing this is, as I said, either one, they're too stressed out and they have to give some sort of venting to a student, or they're just not, they shouldn't be a teacher if they're giving out punishments unwarrantedly. So my example being back in third or fourth year, I never had detention. I never did anything out of order. It's always well behaved. Well, to an extent. But in one of the history classes I had, some boy next to me was constantly kicking me, and I kept on saying stop. And the teacher would be looking over and like, stop speaking. I'm speaking. And I'm like, well, he's kicking me. Well, shush. And it continued happening until I said to the guy, "Can you please stop?" And he's like, "Well, that's it, kid. You're getting detention. Meet me after class today." I was just like, no. I'm not a sheep. No, this is not happening. It's not going to your will. You didn't prevent this from happening. You didn't move us away. You didn't stop it. It's your problem, not mine. No. And I was just gonna leave it be. But obviously, my mom was like, "No, you need to give it a note or something to somebody." I'm like, "Yeah, fine, whatever." That's just really annoys me. It's detention in general. It's it doesn't really stop or help anything really. So I suppose in some cases it will, but
I think most of the time I've had a punny, as it was called, a punishment, or anything like that, detention. It was deserved, to be fair.
no.
For me, it was a bit deserved. You said mucking about, But I've definitely seen it being given to other people when they're just doing their own thing, and you see a lot of people that have a bit of back chat with teachers. If they don't do anything wrong, they'll try and back their corner. I'm like, no, and it just sort of gets them in a worse position. Because teachers like, you can't do that.
That's literally me. Literally any given it's one of the classes where I was doing literally fuck all, and two of the boys next to me were doing annoying shit, and I just got grabbed and put away into another room with them. And I'm like, I had nothing to do with it. I don't even know these folks. They're not even my friends. And I was like, no back chat. And it's like, I'll back chat as much as I want, as long as you fucking understand that they're nothing to do with me. I'm no a dog. I'm not getting put in the fucking corner. Nah. It's something always annoyed me. It's like there's a lot of people that do deserve it, like, but there's a lot of people I've seen happen to them and they don't deserve it. Like, in Woodworks, there was a boy who basically corrected the teacher. You'll know him. I've mentioned him a few times, but basically, the minute he got corrected, he just for some reason took it out on the boy. He was like, "Well, if you're gonna be such a smart boy, then I won't I won't teach you anything. You sit over there." I'm sat like, is your ego that small? Is your ego that small that you're taking away an education from somebody who so happened to correct you? It's just a bit of a pussy maneuver, if I'm being honest. But that's my second example.
I suppose I'll move on to my second one, which is it's the difference between good and bad teachers or lecturers. It does make a huge difference, I feel. And like a lot of teachers will have different methods of how they teach, different ways. And for an example, stuff like this. I did history in 3rd, 4th year, 5th, and 6th. I think I did it throughout all of high school, and for 3rd, 4th, and 5th year, I had the same teacher, right? And their methods really worked for me. So I was able to I took the information in, I learned it quite well. So that come the exams or the prelims, I did quite well. But then 6th year came, and it was a different teacher. And to be honest, I thought it would have been fine because it was history, and that was one of my favored classes because I had enjoyment with it, and it helps a lot when you enjoy a class because you'll want to do more to learn.
Yeah.
And then this class happened, and his methods were just so different. A lot of it was literally just write down everything, like just paragraphs of this and paragraphs of that. And none of it was going in my head. I was like, bruh.
Yeah.
It was just rough. It was very rough.
It is very rough because it's not working for you. There'll be people in your class that does work for.
Yeah, that's the thing. It can be a bit subjective.
A bit prejudiced with methods. There should be
you finish yours first.
I was going to say there should be a lot more like methods of figuring out how a student learns and then working with that instead of just hoping for the best in the class, because there's so many people's education that could be ruined by that single factor of a teacher's methods of teaching.
Yep, definitely. And you get some teachers or lecturers who just genuinely do a bad job, and it's not just their methods. Like I had a lecturer in college, and I'm not going to say a name or go too much into information, but he was just very he just didn't say a lot. He just expected everyone to know what they were doing, and it was really bad. It was bad. There was actually a point where I think I was off the day before or something like that, and I was meant to have done an essay and hand it in. So when he goes around the class and he calls people up to the front, right, to go over their essay and be like, "Oh, what have you done?" This and that. He calls me up, and I'm sat there like, "Oh no," what is this? I haven't done this essay. I was off. And then he starts acting as if he's seen my essay, and he's like, so yeah, what do you think you did with this essay? And I just mumble absolute crap, and he goes along with it as if he's read it, and I'm like, you meant to be the lecturer. Oh, he's just not read it. He's just acting as if he has. Oh my god, the whole thing was just a mess.
I've heard this story before, and I honestly reckon he must have just brought you up and looked at somebody else's report by accident and just assumed it was yours.
Mm-hmm. Probably.
I wouldn't be surprised.
I got lucky anyway that day.
My third and final one is prejudice in the education system. So there's prejudice everywhere, but I'll just slightly focus on the disability / slow learner students and how they're heavily affected. Like, I was affected heavily by it. Like, it completely ruined my high school experience. Primary school was fine, college has been fine, high school was a shitter for me. Because you would have probably done it in primary school. Transitioning to secondary school was they would give you a form and be like, oh, which friends would you like to see again and be in classes again in high school, sort of stuff. I signed that, and it also asked which ones wouldn't you like. I signed it, signed free for the ones I don't want to. Two or one of the three ended up in my class are the ones I didn't want to be in. Of the three I did, not a single one. So I'm like, so I know nobody. Okay. That's fine. I can carry on. And then I realised, because of my disability, my autism, they were like, no, don't let them into higher classes or smarter classes. I was put into second last of the classes, and to only prove that I didn't belong in the classes, with my attendance, my barely in attendance, maybe 2, 3, maybe even 1 day a week sometimes, I would go in and I would complete all the essays, all the things, tests and that I didn't revise for easily, which should tell them that, he's smarter than the classes that he's in. No wonder he doesn't want to be in classes that he already knows, he's already expertised in and stuff. I literally asked to transition to better classes and that. There's nada. It didn't help that I also got actually quite ill a bit when I was in my teenage years, so I'm just left my teenage years, but from ages 13 to 16.
You get sick quite often.
Not anymore. I got sick last week, and before that, the last time I got sick was literally a year on the same month. But in high school, from 13 to 16 or maybe 17, I had gotten sick every other week. Genuinely gotten a cold, had hurt myself or something. But I think it really heavily affected, because in my last year of high school, I fucking fought for the fact of doing standard grades because they were trying to refuse it to me. And I was like, why? Because, you're not in enough. So I'm not in enough because I don't want to fucking do the classes I've already perfected. I don't want to sit in class and do fuck all day. I'd rather be in my bed resting or doing something or writing. Which is what I did in a lot of my free periods, because I didn't have anything to revise, so I just creatively wrote stuff, or whatever fucking words that is. But during the 5th year, I did all the standard grade stuff. I was getting well with it. I was actually doing revision for it, actually learning stuff. Then stuff started happening. I got, I think in exchange for me doing these Nat 5s, one of my student support teachers was like, no, you have to do art then. So he was trying to heavily push it on me, and I was doing art, and I wasn't taking anything in. It was the worst. So I dropped that, and I remember people being like, "Oh, you're gonna regret that. What would your mother think of that? Blah blah blah." So my mom that was fucking pushing it on me, saying, "You should just drop the fucking course then." And I was like, "Thank you. I don't want the subject. It was ass. You're doing fuck all on it." In fact, the only part of the art that I enjoyed was the writing aspect, which the teacher was thinking that put me off it, because they actually liked what I drew and did, painted and all that. It's like, no, I just don't like coming into the class every day of the week and having a lamp sit down in front of me and drawing the lamp in a different fucking style. It ain't creative at all. There's no outlet here. But that's my thing. I eventually got to the point where I just left school and I moved on to college.
Yeah.
And then since then I've gotten quite a few qualifications. I'm currently doing cybersecurity, which will lead me to some sort of IT-based job. Look at me now, world. Fuck you all. Fuck you, high school. And your fucking stinky-ass cafeterias and pasta in the fucking stairwells.
Oh,
There's
boy.
always some cunt with pasta or soup and they leave it in the stairwell.
Oh, I know. It's always the stairwells.
Always the stairwells.
Good God. Well, I will move on to my last of this topic, and it's homework, actually. The thing about homework is, I don't think anyone really enjoys homework. I think anyone, I'd be surprised if someone did. But a bit of it does sort of tie into that environment thing you're on about, right? Is, if I'm wanting to learn, or if I've got to learn this and that, I'd rather get it done in, school time or college time, right? Doing stuff at home is so uninspiring, and I physically can't do it in terms of getting my head around it, because trying to do work when you're in your own comfort space, it completely throws it.
It nullifies the comfort space, and then when you're finished that work, you just feel like you're still there.
I can't focus at all. I absolutely can't focus at all. So I'll be right, get ready to type this and that, and then I'm like, oh, look at the shade of this on my desk. My brain just does not want to do it at all.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of times that if I did have homework or stuff like that, or revision, I would actually go into the college or the school and sit down in there, because it gives me more of more of an incentive being in that environment.
Did you have
just doing all that stuff?
Would you do it did you have free periods in high school? Study periods that you would use that time
yeah, I had
for?
free periods. I used that for deadline stuff and whatnot.
Oh yeah.
There's stuff that had to be done, and I guess that's some of the homework. A lot of it is it's just remembering. So, for example, maths, right? You would do the maths questions and whatnot in the class, and they would send you homework, which is the same. It's the same style of questions, but it's just different.
Yeah.
Just to sort of try and get it into your head. But if you've already got that, if you understand, then it's just a pain in the arse doing that way.
I resonate that with me fully. I would have probably been on my list as well if you didn't have it. Is in high school, I don't think at any single given point in high school I did the homework at all, because every time they gave me homework, I'd look at it and be like, I already understand this, and I would and that's the benefit of the doubt with my disabilities. They went, okay, if he doesn't need to do it, he doesn't need to do it. He understands it as long as he can show us. I was like, yeah, fair enough. But then college comes about, and you're sort of required to do it because they use it as evidence for your qualifications rather than just revision. Especially right now with COVID and all that. Saying that, being at home doing college courses is just the worst, because I'll be sat there listening to them deadpan, listening to them say absolute shite, just information blasted in my face, and I'll suddenly just whip up my phone subconsciously and look at it and be like, oh, funny Twitter meme, and I'll be like, oh, I'm trying to watch. I'll even grab my phone and chuck it on my bed, and I'll still end up finding something to look in my room and not pay attention, because it's literally, I feel like I don't pay much more attention in the college, but at least I don't find ways of being like, oh, look over there, look over here. It's the only thing I can do is look at them in a class. And the other thing I found was homework is the last week or two is, because they're using it for evidence and all that, the homework that they're giving us isn't revision. It's actually sort of like mini assignments that you have to get done for evidence. So it's stuff we haven't actually done, but we're trying for ourselves for the first time. So that's like a different style of homework. I suppose it depends on what the homework was. So like they give you homework to do at home, and it's not revision, but it's actually to finish off what you should have done on that day or could have done, because they don't have enough time to actually give it to you or explain it to you.
Yeah.
That's still annoying, like, but at least it's got a better reason.
Yeah, exactly. Because you're blocked in for like a certain amount of time, so.
Yeah, I've seen that happen the most in college so far, especially with this year's course that I'm doing, which isn't a bad thing. It's just like, I've just got to work and. Saying that, we're in a lockdown and I'm trying to work in when I should do it. But, it's just. It's just a bit of an annoyance. It's really, really annoying.
Yeah. I would agree, definitely.
A lot of jobs require you doing homework-esque things at home anywhere, actually, so it's just. Some jobs will just have you being more annoyed.
Yeah. But I think that wraps us up then for the main topic. And it moves us on to something new that we're going to be doing in these episodes from now on. And it's the news topic. So, just anything that's recently been announced or, talked about. Just absolutely anything like that. Have you got something you'd like to mention?
Yeah, because with this new segment we have, it doesn't particularly have to be like something we can both understand. It's just something that will like piques our interest immensely, and it's big news as well. So, and I'm explaining this because my first piece of news is a Berserk announcement. So it's a manga, Berserk, and anime sometimes, depending on what you prefer. On their Twitter, they announced a wee post with a nice illustration of the main character in like silhouette, and on it's in quotations, I think, saying the new beginning. And there's been nothing new from Berserk for the past 2 years, manga or anime, especially since the anime, since it started in 2016 again, was shitty CGI in 3D. It was hated. It was god awful. But with this post, it's a bit ambiguous, but it's news enough to be like, this either means chapters are going to come out again, or the new beginnings means they're going to reanimate, or in this certain way, remaster the anime from beginning to current, which would actually sent me into hype mode. I was on the verge of unleashing a manly tear from just the thought of seeing my man's guts just cleaving a demon in half. A manly tear. I was so enthralled. I had to message somebody who I knew watched the anime as well. But then again, it's still ambiguous. We don't know what it means. It's just theoretical.
It's something, though.
It's something.
Something to look forward to.
Aye. How about your
my first bit of news is some boxing news, actually. There's two wee things. So the first one being Yousyk versus Chisora. That finally got announced a couple days ago. So they will be fighting on the 31st of October. And I think, like, I've been getting into boxing a shit ton recently. I did used to watch like the odd fights here and there beforehand, but recently I've been getting super into it, and I think this fight will be quite interesting. You've got Yousyk, who was a fucking cruiserweight beforehand, and he's currently undefeated. I think his record is like 17-0 right now. So he fought and beat Tony Bellew. I think that was a couple of years ago now. And since then, since he had all the belts, he went up to the heavyweight. So this will be interesting to see how he does against in that division against Chisora. And the thing with Chisora, though, is he's lost like 9 times, right? So he's lost to Dillian White, he's lost to Fury, he's lost to Klitschko, lost to quite a lot of people, and this is almost like last chance saloon for him. You know, if he doesn't win this, it's pretty much over. I think, to be fair though, Yousyk he's very very good. Very technical boxer. Can't remember what his nickname is. I think it's the Cat. I think he's literally known as the Cat. But yeah, see, what's mad about Yousyk is his like amateur record. Have you heard of this?
No.
In his amateur days, he won like 330 odd fights.
Fucking hell.
And only lost like 15.
Bro.
You know, but it is ridiculous. He got a massive amateur record, but since he's came in, this is his next fight, and I'm looking forward to it. I think it'll be good. I think if he wins this, I mean, he might be looking towards fighting maybe AJ or something like that. You know.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll see what happens there. The other bit of boxing news is just actually Conor McGregor. And he came out on Twitter and was chatting about how his next fight will be against Manny Pacquiao, which is a bit odd, you know. It's much a payday really with that. Manny Pacquiao is he's past his peak, but then again, I think he would still.
I feel like
Conor McGregor
at this point, if McGregor was more of an ego show than he was just like a showboat, then he wouldn't be fighting as many fights as he has, especially with how many times he's lost. If it was surely ego, he would have stopped because he would have been damaged. He's purely about putting on a show. He's sort of like he's like a WWE fighter if he was actually going for blood in a fight. Like, not to say there isn't blood in WWE. It is relatively fake, but it's more about endurance in WWE.
Yeah.
Don't know how I've got onto the topic, but
that's the thing. Like, a lot of people are going to tune in for that if that gets announced.
It's controversial.
Definitely. Because he's only had the one boxing fight beforehand, and that was obviously against Mayweather, where he just played into Mayweather's hands. Really got beat.
Yeah, it is a strange one because he's obviously a much better UFC fighter than a boxer. Don't know why he just went into that sort of thing. I feel like he just thought it would draw in crowds. Like, there's no way he thought he had a big chance of winning, let alone just a chance of winning. He went in with a mindset of like, I'm going to put on a show, and I think he did. And it's just the people that get so angry over him. Like, I don't know about those allegations and all. But
I know. A lot of people don't like him. He's definitely notorious.
I know my brother really liked him.
I quite enjoy watching him.
I haven't seen much.
To
be fair, my boxing experiences have always been, if there's a fight that I'm going to watch, I do research on the fighters and watching their previous fights, and that's how I end up watching boxing fights. It's just a weird sort of like hobby, not even a hobby, it's just a weird interest for me. It's like, I only watch boxing if it's live, and then I'll watch previous fights because of the live event.
Yeah.
Rather than going out my way sometimes to watch them. But I do enjoy watching boxing.
Yeah. Right. Well, I reckon a lot of UFC fighters will be wondering why he's not fucking doing more UFC and instead going into boxing again. But yeah, that's my bit of news. My first bit of news, anyway. What else have you got?
My second bit of news is about Among Us, and it's a big game right now. It's just completely like landslided Fall Guys out of nowhere.
Yeah,
like
the glorious game.
Like, they're both games with relatively bean-like characters in it, which is very odd. I reckon that's something to do with it. Like, Fall Guys got popular, and then whoever made Among Us popular, that XQC guy, whatever his name is, must have went, this game has beans in it. I wonder if I can get it popular. That's my theory. My game theory. But, yeah, Among Us recently came out saying the sequel they were working on for it is cancelled now. So I imagine that probably went into works about a year or a year and a half after the game came out. So before the popularity, at least. So it could have been even 6 months after the first game came out. Because Among Us came out in 2018. So it's 2 years old. Two years for it to come into fame, and it was only like $3.99 to buy. Because it's not a massive game. It's not a complex looking game. It's a 2D, it's like side scroller sort of thing. But so they've cancelled the sequel they were making for it to instead work on refining the first game, which is all in its entirety a much better idea, especially with having better servers, allocating the better servers and all. Because what we did as a Discord group is whenever we went to play it, we were having difficulty getting to the lobbies and shit.
God, yeah.
So we found a way of doing it through a VPN, and it's much easier and better. But hopefully, within the future, these updates and upgrades, and possibly even making to Among Us, will have it more, maybe game modes, more options. Of course, better servers, which is ideal. It's the ideal thing right now.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it, to be honest, seeing what they do with this. And I get why they would want to do an Among Us 2 to start with, because like it's a bit of an outdated engine and whatnot that they've got, so there's only so much that they can do to like build off of it. But I think what they've decided that they're gonna put their focus into this first one and do as much as they can before they will, do a sequel at some point. And it makes you wonder, like, would they capitalize on this like popularity and try and put it on PlayStation and Xbox, or do you reckon they would wait for like the next sequel if that ever does happen?
I don't know. I can imagine they like stall it for like 3 or 4 years and they release Among Us 2 and it's a completely 3D game and it's much more scary. Like you're just wondering, like on Alien Isolation, you're just wandering the ship and you come into a fucking imposter and you're not sure, and then suddenly a tongue comes out with you and just jump scares you.
Oh Lord,
I'd be mad. But that's my second piece of news.
It's a good game, man. Which one do you reckon between that and Fall Guys? Which one do you reckon has more replayability?
Ooh.
It's a bit of a tough one,
Fall Guys is definitely the bigger and more diverse game, I would say, especially in terms of not loot pool, but like item pool and all that. The thing with Among Us is it's a very basic game, and that's where the fun is. You have to make the fun, because it's a very subjective way of playing. It's like, who's the imposter? People have to remember things. People have to make up arguments, discussions. They have to be. It depends whether you're getting ejected or not. It solely depends on whether somebody's mindset will believe you or not. Like an example would be like, I'm pretty suspicious of him and him. But then people are like, why are you sus of him and him? It's probably you. And I'm like, no, I'm just making an educated guess. I was with this guy. They can vouch for me. No. And I get voted out. And I'm like, God damn it. That's the fun of the games. Like, you never know what will happen.
Yeah. I think I would say Among Us, to be honest. I think it'll live a lot longer than Fall Guys.
In terms of like... long term. I could see Among Us, especially if it gets like updated more and more. Fall Guys is just so competitive.
Last thing I'll say on Among Us is, funny enough, because it's currently not on PlayStation, the most searched for thing in the PlayStation Store, I seen this a couple of days ago, and it was a film called Among Us. So, literally, people are jumping on their PlayStation and trying to search for this game, only to find the film, so that ups it in the searches, which is quite funny. But I guess I'll move us on to my next bit. It's kind of hard to avoid the whole COVID stuff, at the moment, especially with cases and whatnot increasing, and the new rule being put in place, which is the 2 households and 6 people. That's meant to be the most you're allowed to have. It really does throw a lot of stuff in terms of like small gatherings and that, because you'll get a lot of people that just won't be obeying this and that, and they'll be they'll be the ones that are like causing the rates to go up. But then again, you've got the other side of it where yeah, what if you've got families that are like 7 people? You know,
Oh
what happens
God.
then? Somebody's got to go.
Sorry, Gran, you'll be left in the bed.
Sorry, Gran, you're in a home. But yeah, it's really annoying.
Yeah.
Especially for people who have like got like an organized bubble of people. So even let's say it's 3 households that you've got. The fact that it's 2 households just makes it so much of a nuisance, I think.
Like I live with somebody who doesn't even like leave the house, like apart from like getting shopping and taking me somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
So they wouldn't go out anywhere anyway. So literally, my choices are being going out with another household of like 5, which is very unlikely, let alone
Yeah.
4. I doubt even 3. So like maybe 3 of us would be going out with 2 households. It's just not really worth it in the long run. You'd be better home just communicating with them.
Mm-hmm.
Unless it's like a sports activity, but in terms of nights out, maybe it'd be better off just being at home and communicating while having a drama at home.
Yeah, seems like it for now. Anyway.
Yeah.
It's just it's quite annoying, I think, but it does make sense in a way. I just feel like it's
My birthday wish for this year, and probably for you as well, is at least lift 2 households to 3.
if it goes to 3, then
I don't want my 21st to be so bad.
Oh man, yeah, your 21st is this year, man. It's gonna be damaged by COVID.
Nothing a bottle of vodka won't solve.
But it's the fact that like the thing with this rule, a lot of people just still are like they're not bothering about this. You know,
We'll just get
they'll
fined.
they'll get fined. That's what's
It's
happening.
hefty as
I
well.
don't know what the fine is.
It's apparently hefty.
I think I've heard like 500 quid or something, or even more. I'm not too sure on what that is, but
I think
either way,
my general rule of thumb for myself is if it doesn't affect me physically or much to actually cause me distress, then there's no point not wearing a mask. Because it's for the safety of others. And even if it's not for the safety of others, what if it is all a hoax? But what is the harm in wearing one if it doesn't actually affect you? It just it's a bit selfish. Like even if you believe it's all like a government hoax, what are they going to do to you when you're wearing a mask? What is the mask actually doing to you that they're making you wear it? It's not like they're brainwashing you.
I don't know. Nah. Yeah, it's a small thing, really. It's just easy to do.
I wish it was all a hoax, but at the same time, that just means every government is just is just a liar.
They all are.
I mean,
They all are in
I'm
some way.
extremely distrustful of the government. Never trust the government. But whatever helps my friends and family, I suppose.
Yep.
It's not
You
like
wanna?
being drafted into the army in fucking 1918 and being like, "Well, sorry, you're probably not gonna come back alive." Aye, what you saying?
Aye. You got one more?
I do, and it's about PlayStation. So you've got PlayStation 5. Its price revealed recently. You've got
Yes.
the games, uh, more gameplay and stuff like so. You got Spider-Man. You got stuff for the new Call of Duty campaign, which a friend of mine, funny enough, says this just looks like what was it, Team America World Police. I'm like, you know what? It does. That's a good thing. But something I was particularly impressed with is on launch for PS5. As long as you got like a PS Plus subscription, you've got like 20 odd games free. Like they're AA games. They're really good. So you got like Monster Hunter World. You got uh Infamous Second Son. You've got Bloodborne. You got everything. You've got Fallout 4. There's quite a few. Last Guardian. That's one I've been wanting to play. It's by the same folks as Shadow Colossus. So it's something I'm actually quite excited to like look at. And the PlayStation 5, it supports 4K DVDs and stuff, so I've got quite a few that I can now actually play. It's just good. It's just the share about it right now is like every time somewhere new's got pre-orders in stock, it just gone in like 20 minutes.
Yeah, they're sold out fucking
I
pretty much everywhere.
I see somewhere that there's gonna be like a black one on pre-order at one point, hopefully in like mid-October. I'm gonna be on that like a hawk and sending that and pre-ordering that. That's getting copped.
Yeah, I think I might go for the black one as well. You know, typically I prefer to have like my PlayStation be black and then my Xbox be white. You know, so for like the Xbox One, I've got the white version. So I think it'd be kind of nice to keep it.
I can't remember what my
keep it that
Xbox
way.
was. I think my Xbox was like white or black at the same time. Like I think I've had two Xbox 360s. Xbox One, I can't remember. I think my Xbox One was black.
But yeah, there's definitely some good stuff to look forward to.
I mean,
with
6
the
years of
PlayStation.
PS4, maybe to another 6 years of PS5.
You know what's crazy?
What?
The fact that GTA 5 is going to cost $75.
I don't understand why it's not one of the free fucking games. I'm actually appalled. The amount of money they get just from revenue from shark cards is enough.
Yeah, it's funny because it's because with GTA 5 and like the previous gen, they came out with this like really nice thing, and everyone was like, "Oh, that's a nice gesture," you know. Where it was like, "Oh, you get 1 million a month in the lead up to the PlayStation 5 release," only for them to take your money back via just the sheer price of the game.
Pooey.
Yeah.
I won't be copying GTA 5 and PS5. I think I'm sort of done with the game unless I like jump on my PS4.
Nah, I don't think so. I just want a new one. We need a new GTA.
They haven't actually begun. I'm pretty sure they said they haven't even begun working on that properly yet, like a few months ago. So they don't even have any like proper like gameplay like mechanics or anything down.
Yeah. I'll tell you one game I'm kind of looking forward to for the PS5, and it is God of War Ragnarok. Ooh.
Oh yeah, that's the other free game for PS5's God of War. So that can prepare me for Ragnarok, I suppose.
Yes. Need to blast that before Ragnarok.
I need to play either
That's
God
gonna
of
be
War 3 or
class.
God of War before then. Because I mean, God of War 3 was free game of the month. Aye. It's looking good.
I guess I'll move on to my last bit of news.
Doubly.
So yeah, this is it got announced like earlier in the month, so it's not total new news. And it is Gorillaz announcing just the Song Machine Season 1. So I can't remember when they started putting out these, but essentially it was like this series that they've been doing where they're putting out singles, right? And it's, I think to start with, it was like maybe one every month or 2 months or something like that. But after the last single, which was Strange Times, with Robert Smith, they decided to announce just the full season, which is
it's mad. It looks
really
mad.
interesting. Yeah, really interesting to see just the rest of the tracks that they've got still to come out.
What are the other artists they announced?
So in terms of ones that aren't released, is the one with Beck out? No, it's not. The Valley of the Pagans is one track, I think, still to come out. The Lost Chord feat Lee John. The Pink Phantom featuring Elton John and Black.
That's it, Elton John. I'm looking for that one.
That Elton John one's going to be crazy. There's MLS featuring JPEG Mafia and Chai, which I think that's going to be class.
Chai.
Just JPEG Mafia.
Oh.
Because I'm a big fan of him.
No.
Yeah, there's quite a few. But yeah, it's also interesting because it's season 1, which it sort of entails that they're planning a season 2 at some point.
It doesn't even imply; it just outright indicates to you that there's going to be more than one season, because it's not like a limited series. It's not like it's just like a show. Like I can't even think what shows are actually just one season and only one season. There's not many, but there are some out there. It's not like Netflix is going to just put it on me like this is season 1, but it's only a season 1 show. It's just I think it is the way forward for their music though, because I've always been about supporting and releasing other artists' music with them.
Do you reckon it'll be like once season 1 finishes, they'll go straight on to season 2, or do you reckon they'll put out an album and then it might be season 2 after?
Depends, because I get the feeling that they're not so into doing albums anymore, because this in itself, season 1 of Song Machine is its own album.
Yeah, it's just once it's released, it'll be compiled together.
So I reckon there'll be gaps of time, and then they'll do a season 2, and depending on how they feel afterwards, they might release some. They might release some big songs in between. I don't think they'll do full albums between seasons.
Yeah,
they might. I think it's just pure speculation. What we want. I'd just a random big banger between the fucking seasons. Just plop down a Saturn's Bars or Humility banger in the middle of them, and I'll satiate me.
Was it the Now or Humans where afterwards they were oh yeah, we won't be doing an album for fucking ages, or something like that?
It was Humans or Now. Either one of them, they said they didn't want to do. I don't even know if it was albums. It might have been albums, because I know they said they didn't want to do actual what was it, gigs around tours. They didn't want to do tours anymore, or at least not for a while. Which is true, they haven't done one for a while. But they've obviously reignited what they wanted to do, and then they cut off their break and they're doing more stuff.
Yeah, but either way, it's exciting. I think definitely looking forward to the rest of the tracks and just seeing what happens after that as well. Something to look forward to. I think that wraps us up for the news, and moves on to general talk.
Yes. Well, our first topic of general talk is favorite YouTubers, and obviously, if you're Gen Z or millennial, you'll know what a YouTuber is. Boomers, I'm not so sure, but YouTubers being folks that upload YouTube videos to They upload videos to YouTube, hence being YouTube videos, and their definition of being a YouTuber is somebody who's not necessarily making money, but are gaining views and are uploading consistently. There's some cases where they're more like a show, or if anything, they had on YouTube Red or Premium, they had Cobra Kai. That's been shifted to Netflix. I wouldn't count Cobra Kai as a YouTuber, but as I'm saying, this list will compile of our favorite YouTubers. And give us your first example, Don.
Yeah, so my first example is a group, actually, and it's the Sidemen. So yeah, the Sidemen involves the popular one, KSI. And yeah, I've been watching his stuff since fucking way back in his FIFA days and whatnot. You've got him, you've got Harry Rota Shaw, there's Simon Miniminter, Ethan Bazinga, Josh, which is Zerka, Vic Star. Who am I missing? I'm missing someone. I don't know. Toby. That's it. And yeah, like what I find really like just entertaining is just when they're groups, because they've got the actual Sidemen channel, which they made a couple of years back now, and like all the videos just include them all. But just the way they all bounce off of each other, because they're all different, they're all very different. But just the way they work together, their humor and whatnot, you know. I think if I was to pick two who are the most like each other, it might be like Ethan and Harry, maybe. But even then, they're still different.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, just some of the stuff that they get up to, just generally in stitches. One of the latest videos that I got you to watch actually was pub golf, where essentially they
You're a sick
went.
bastard. Showing me that video.
Oh no, they went round pubs. It was like a pub crawl, but each pub they went to, it was a different drink that they had to have, and they had to down it in as least amount of shots as possible, essentially. So it could be literally a full pint of lager, and the par would be like 2, essentially. So they're going around London to all these pubs, just getting absolutely fucking hammered.
With World's End, but with golf points.
Yeah. So they tallied up the score at the end, and
I remember when I wanted to do a pub
Simon
crawl,
won.
but then COVID hit.
Aye. Yeah, Simon. There's a lot of times I'll watch just their individual videos as well, but I think as a group they're solid, absolutely solid. Some of their content is just absolutely hilarious.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's mine. It's probably one of my most watched, I think. Whenever they upload, I'll check out.
I can attest to that. My first one is a lovely chap from Boston, called Germa985, and I think his actual first name is Jeremy, hence the Germa part. And I think the funniest aspect about Germa985, before I get into any of his videos or his personality, is he's the living incarnation of the TF2 Scout. Like, they're not even in terms of looks, not even in terms of like how like they move or stuff, how they speak. They're both from Boston as well. It's just uncanny, but he's just got nothing to do with it. But apart from that, I really like German985 because he's this weird sort of like chaotic, neutral sort of guy, YouTuber. Chaotic good, I suppose. He's sort of like wholesome, but he's completely out of his mind when he does videos. He was back in the day. He used to do videos with like GTA 4 with mods with another YouTuber called Star. I'd watch his stuff. It'd always be funny. My favorite video of that had like a scene. I say scene, but like a segment where his mate is trying his hardest to hit him with his modded car that allows him to like send it in like a high velocity, sort of like almost flying at points. And for the life of him, he couldn't hit him or kill him. And eventually, it just gets to the point where Jeremy's just laughing. He's like, he can't even hit me. He can't even hit me. And then out of nowhere, an ambulance just comes and hits Jeremy from behind and just insta kills him. So a completely natural NPC in an ambulance is the thing that kills him, not the highly fucking fast modded vehicle that was going at the speed of light. I just found that was an incredibly funny like circumstances, really ironic. His general personality I really like is he'll make up these voices, or he'll just like act out a situation, and he'll always like do the things that's not to be expected. Like whenever he's in a game, he'll try his hardest to find the silliest way to like do something or kill himself. So he's like driving a car or something, and he's like, "Oh, there's an old lady on the road." He just absolutely floors it and just destroys the fucking. And it'll end up most of the time it'll end up in a glitch, and I love watching cunts find glitches naturally. He's just a really funny like guy. He did these videos. I got you to watch the Germa Rumble, which is
oh my god, yeah.
is like he
Glorious.
goes on WWE games and like sets up this whole like WWE Royale sort of thing where every time two wrestlers are fighting, a new one gets introduced every minute, I think. But the minute they're thrown out, they're disqualified, and it continues until there's one last person in. It's really enjoyable to watch because he's the commentator for that. And since he did videos on his main channel during 1985, he switched to streaming around 2015, 2016, and somebody started doing edits for his streams for him. He had nothing to do with them at that point, but around 2017, 2018 time, he made a second channel called Second Germa, and that's where he uploads all this stuff now. And it's just, it's weird, like, I've gotten so, like, engrossed in watching this content that I'll literally watch a 7-hour stream of him playing a game called House Flipper, which is literally just you making a house. Like, literally redecorating a house.
Yeah.
It's just his patter that gets me, like, off. Because he'll be
Yeah.
reading the chat, and this chat have this running joke with him, like, where he's short, like, he's, like, 5'2", but he's actually, like, 5'8". And it's just called, his green screen streams as well. He's just really good at making content. He's really creative. He'll play any game.
Yeah.
But that's Jerma.
I think with Jerma wasn't Jerma the YouTuber who played that like horror game, and the scene I remember is like he's going through like a corridor and it's meant to be like one of those what was it? Almost like a loop thing. If you go the opposite way, it keeps looping. But he goes through like this corridor, and this like ghost of a girl is meant to come from the like one of the.
Not even a girl. It's just an actual baby.
Oh yeah, like the ghost just sort of appears and then like gets hits into the wall, and he's just absolutely laughing. And he like keeps going back and forwards like over that like sort of trip line.
There's like a threshold
to constantly get it to happen.
It just bonks its head and goes oh, and then echoes, and he just constantly does it, and it just ends him because he has a face cam on. You visually watch him like derail from like anything that's happening in the game.
Well, my second is actually a duo, and it's Poet and Vuj. You definitely won't know them because they're mostly involved with like the football stuff and whatnot. So originally they were part of a channel which was called Copa 90. So they uploaded like a ton of content and whatnot, but one in particular, one of the shows that they had on that was called Comments Below. So essentially, it was like a football type show where these two guys, Poet and Vuj, they fucking chat about the games, they chat about all that stuff, just all football related stuff. But they take it from the comments that are in the YouTube video from before, and they just discuss all the stuff. But the way their humor is, the way they like work with each other is just so it's so humorous and like uplifting, like they've got I don't want to say vibes, but you know what I mean. They've just got a really good thing going between them. That's just, I don't know. It's kind of hard to explain without like seeing it, but they just really really work well together. And the jokes are absolutely, in some cases, they're absolutely stupid, and it's really enjoyable. Since they moved away from Copa 90, they started their own channel called Poet and Vuj, and I'm still watching all their stuff that they come up with. One of them's an Arsenal fan, one of them's a Liverpool fan, actually. But yeah, if anyone's into football and that sort of stuff, I'd sort of advise just checking them out, see what you think. Some people might not like them, but I find them absolutely hilarious. Some of the patter is just funny as fuck. But yeah, that's my second one.
My second one is one of my probably the oldest YouTuber. I have my one. Like he probably uploaded videos in like 2008 sort of stuff. So not like super early, like 2005 when YouTube started, but still early enough to be considered really old. Like 12 years old at this point. And Uber Nova, or better known as James, is a guy from Pennsylvania, I believe, and I really enjoy his content. Really funny, and I just really enjoy this content, and he's still one of my favorite YouTubers simply for what he did over the years for me as a content creator. And begin with, I watched him like play Minecraft Let's Plays with like a few other people, and eventually turned into a thing, which happened well quite a few YouTubers. So like you've got the Sidemen, they had their Sidemen house. You've got I think it's the Z house, which had a bunch of zombies YouTubers have a house together. But I think one of the OG houses was the Creatures. So they had the Creature house, which was a few houses. They went through a few houses, and it had a few YouTubers like it was James Slyhound Hawks, Slyhound Fox, Dan's News Reviews, Gassy Mexican, SHOPKC, I think, or Seamus. A few of them, and over the years, people would leave, like Gassy Mexican, Zero King, all that sort of stuff, and then some others would join, like Immortal HD, or better known as Alex, who he and James went on to make Cow Chop. But the Creatures, there was a bit of a weird situation with them because James slowly started to get angry because Kutra, who was one of the people who's like running the Creatures with him, the whole like channel started changing when they moved into an office and stayed in an office instead of like an actual house. So what eventually happened was it got into like content creator issues where they made like certain blocks for certain days for certain episodes, and that was just messing with the creativity that we're doing with. They were doing things about certain guys, now we're doing things with certain guys instead of other guys, sort of stuff. And it just annoyed James so much that he and Alex decided they were leaving and making their own thing, because he still clearly wanted to create content and sort of stuff. Which, as I said, made Cow Chop. They were still in the office for a bit. They moved over to their warehouse, and that's where they did stuff. Sadly, as of 8 months ago, they ended Cow Chop after like 3 years, maybe 4 years of creating content, and I really enjoyed that. Which also spurred another two people who were on Cow Chop to make Off Canny, being Jacob and Alec, which is now even becoming a bit awkward because Alex left. Who knows where to go from there? But James, I've always liked as well his personality. He's a bit of like got this sort of like bit of shyness about him, and when he's at events and that. But apparently, especially from evidence through videos, is he will always do the controversial thing. So like, he'll be in a car and he's driving past, and he'll roll down the windows and shout like, "You wanna suck my dick? You wanna suck it? I'll suck your dick!" And it's just really weird, and you're like, James! It's like, I'm sorry. And I think the video is most known for, and it became a meme for a while, is the thing where he's like, "Why did you do that? That's cheating! God damn it! God damn it! God damn it!" He's like smashing his keyboard. And that's like that's like 2010 old.
There's another one
Because
that he's known for.
Oh, what? When the Ismail walked into the room and started arguing?
No, I was thinking the one where he's got like this mouthpiece on, and they're like feeding him food, and he's just like, "More."
That's not him.
And he's like, "All right, is that not him?"
That's Game Grumps.
Oh, that's Game Grumps. Fuck.
They're you can get more different people if you fucking tried, bro. But no, the other thing he's known for is there's a clip of a guy, not clip of a guy, clip of him, and his mom walks in and starts speaking to him, and he's like, "No, I want to keep playing my Xbox. No, get off that right now." That's James.
Oh yeah.
And I didn't know that was James for a while. I completely forgot about that. But the one where he's known for cheating is the guy who's playing with Spoonerism was on Minecraft, and they're playing a custom map, so they're not allowed to break stuff. So what Spoon did is he grabbed a wool block and dyed it blue. That's all that happened, and he just got raging, absolutely raging. That's one of his like sort of personality. He gets super raging and shit. It's funny. But that's my second example. Uber Haxer Nova.
Well, my next one is actually Mr. T Lexify. And yeah, I was thinking of like all of the zombie YouTubers, right? All those who are about for the Black Ops 2 days, the Black Ops 3 days, whatnot. And there's quite a big group of them. They ended up doing that at a Z House at one point.
Yeah.
And I think like out of the all of those YouTubers, I think the ones that I prefer the most is like Noah, Milo, and Lex. But I think Lex is probably my favorite out of them. And yeah, it's just down to the way he acts, you know, and whatnot, and obviously he's been part of the Zombies crew, the Zombies gang for ages, and he always puts out like tons of videos. And over this past couple of months, he's been doing like round 100s for like every single map. He's been going through them, but aside from like his main channel and whatnot, he does live streams and sort of reaction videos where he'll watch like tons of stuff between fucking like other videos from the zombie YouTubers or the Daily Dose of the Internet. He does that as well. But yeah, just the way he acts, I guess. He's very funny with a lot of his push.
Incredibly funny.
He's probably the most like reckless out of the lot of them.
Oh yeah, he's very loose with what he says.
Yeah.
No restraint.
There's the one meme where what is it? He just sort of like goes right into the mic and he's like, "Wake up!
Oh
wake
my god!
Up!"
What was it? There was recently when he during a stream he was having a bad day streaming. He was playing Among Us and he wasn't having a good time in Among Us. So afterwards he was getting ready to stream a round of 100 zombies thing, which takes like 4 or so hours, I think. Depends if he wants to like segment it to another day. But before he's getting ready to do it, he starts hyping himself up, I think, and he whips up the nunchucks and he starts like spinning them shit, and one just slips out of his hand and goes right into his monitor, and he grabs the camera, shifts it, and you just see the colours, the RGB is fucked.
Yeah.
And then later in that day, when he gets a new monitor and he starts streaming Origins, another thing happens, and during the round 100 he was doing, he ends up getting stomped and insta-killed when he shouldn't have, and he gets up and starts like punching his keyboard, like his mouse, I think, and he was like going mental. I'm not gonna try and replicate the sounds, but it gets to a point where he was hitting it so hard and often that his Windows key notifications started constantly coming up, and you could hear it just so clearly, and he was just angry. He just had enough. But he's a really good YouTuber. I really like him.
Yeah. Who have you got next?
The one I've got next is Totally Not Mark. He's a YouTuber that I discovered within the last 2 years, and I really enjoy his content because it's very focused on it was very focused on like Dragon Ball stuff, and it's not so much like explaining stuff and all that. It was more him reviewing storytelling and how themes and building a world with consistency is important, and foretelling is really important. And it brought like a new light on what Dragon Ball meant to me, and it wasn't just a show that's about being a powerhouse. It's like, yeah, you can enjoy the fighting and all that, but it means all the much more when the fight has meaning as well. So like when somebody goes Super Saiyan, the reason it was so special to a lot of people when growing up is because the build up of rage and what's happening in the arc makes sense. Like if you just grab like a normal scene and be like, okay, we're gonna introduce a new like power up, but it's gonna be out of nowhere. There's no emotional like build up. There's no impact or anything. They just transform. That's gonna mean nothing to you. It's just a visual impact. It's like seeing in the Thor Ragnarok, the entire film, he's getting fucked up. He's getting things. There's impacts. He gets his power up because he's lost his eye. He's lost his father. There's so much things to build it up. If he just randomly attained that power, it wouldn't be impactful or entertaining at all.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that totally not Mark brings up. And he's currently reviewing One Piece and going through it. And I was worried that he was going to slate it, but he's absolutely praising it for its world building and its consistency. That whenever there's a point in a story, he hates that something that's randomly made up and like to do with a power or a plot point. It's like the plot point or said thing that's going to happen needs to have some sort of subtext or understanding to the audience. Otherwise, you're just pulling a trick out of a hat and it has no meaning. So like a character death being out of nowhere, that's fine, but you can't have like, oh no, we're trapped in a building. Oh yeah, I have this gun that melts walls. Oh great. Why didn't you tell us that before? Oh, I didn't need to. It's like there's no foretelling. You have no idea what's there in their arsenal at all. So you have no like sort of like. There's nothing you can do to be like, well, they can just pull anything out of nowhere. Like you have no sense of like friction in the story. There's no consequences really if they can just pull up whatever, and that's something that he's made me realize, and that's really why I enjoy his videos. Like and he's not beyond critiquing stuff he likes either.
Mm-hmm.
And it's made me think about critiquing things like that as well, which has caused quite a few things I used to like to be a bit less good, in my opinion. Quite a few things I watched. But as an animation buff anyway, I still tend to enjoy those said things. But totally not Mark's. Definitely, he's Irish as well. He was brought up Catholic, so he's against the whole perviness of certain scenes unless it actually has a meaning to it. But that's him. He's a relatively modern YouTuber for me that I discovered. I really enjoy his content.
Oh, nice. So my next one, and this is my second last one, is actually Adam Neely. And he's completely different to like the rest of the YouTubers that I've mentioned, because he's much more of like a serious person, and his content is like fully based off of like music, right? So he is a bassist himself, but he's super like involved in like theory and whatnot, where like quite a lot of his videos are almost Vsauce like that style of video, where it's just tons of like information about this and that, but his stuff is centered towards music and like music theory and whatnot, and just sort of explains like a lot of stuff to do with that. But like some of his jokes, there's like a running joke where it's called the lick, right? And the thing with the lick is it's meant to be this like overused phrase of notes, this overused lick, like literally, where it's always found in like jazz and whatnot, just everywhere. You can find it in like tons of stuff. So he just sort of made a meme of it, essentially. But yeah, he's very, very insightful, and the way he explains a lot of stuff, it not only does it come across well, and for me at least, it's quite good to understand. Like fairly easy to sort of understand. Although some of it's just absolutely madness, like the level of complexity or some stuff. But he's got quite an interesting, like he's got quite a nice voice to listen to. So you are like engaged with the video, you know. You just keep watching the rest of his stuff, and so I often check out a lot of his videos when he puts them out, just because they're great. That's my my music YouTuber of choice.
Nice. Well, this YouTuber's called Rebel Taxi, and he's another older one, like probably not one I discovered until like 2013 or 14. But he's one I always watched. He's got this very distinct vibe about him. He's very like the way he has his videos like placed with the intros, the sound samples he chooses, the aesthetic of how his avatar looks. He's got like one of these avatars he uses. He doesn't do face cams. Very shy, or at least he doesn't like showing his face. So he goes for this very, very early 2000s vibe. Like skateboard-esque, sort of like, oh, yeah, man, I'm drinking Mountain Dew and I've got these like hot Cheetos sort of like vibe. And I really appreciate it. And the way he goes about his videos is he's very much for animation and shit, and he always like reviews animation shit, but it's mostly geared towards games that end up being on his lists. So recently he did one of these like Xbox Forgotten Games, classic or Xbox Classic Forgotten Games and shit like that, and I was watching it and it was really interesting because they're always very vague and not vague, but very like rare ones you don't see, not the popular ones. And some of my favorite videos of his is like top 10 failed animated pilots and all that sort of shit. And he always does obscure shit. That's the word I'm looking for, obscure. And that's why I really enjoy him. His editing for his videos is fucking fantastic. Like, it's superb. But the reason that is because he devotes most of his time to doing videos because he enjoys that. And that's where he makes most of his money, I believe. But as a side job, he's always wanted to animate or continue his webcomic. He has a webcomic, but as I said, the editing he does for his videos takes a lot of his time out from doing those sort of other mediums. So like his life sort of revolves around doing his podcast, which is the Pizza Party podcast that I watch, and what me to try and want to do a podcast as well, and his natural videos and stuff. It's really interesting, and out of all the people of YouTubers that I've watched, he probably has the best editing style I've seen, and he has such a wild personality. He's very, very like not geeky, but like weird. So like, oh god, there's so much to talk about when it comes to his quirks and shit. Like, oh yeah, goth girls sort of like personality. Yeah, man, gotta get those hot Cheetos and those big goth titty GFs. Oh, I love his personality. Aye, that's my second last one.
Nice. So yeah, my last YouTuber that I'm going to mention, and there's there's a couple others I was thinking of mentioning. You know, like First We Feast. You know, the Hot Ones show. I fucking love that show. But I think my last favorite YouTubers is going to be TGF. Right. Now, if you haven't seen TGF, it's essentially two lads. That like so two of them are the main ones. There's a couple other friends that are also involved in some of the videos, but the main two is Jay and Ramel, and they get up to absolute like fucking ridiculous stuff, right? For example, like one of the videos they've done is like they go like driving out in like bumpy grounds and stuff like that while getting tattooed, which is fucking ridiculous. Like, yeah, they absolutely do just ridiculous shit, and the way their humor is, it's so like nonsensical and fucking just stupid, plain stupid humor, where they just mention absolutely random stuff, and it's just so hilarious because they've got like, especially Jay, they've got like this sort of West Midlands accent, and part of the accent is what makes it hilarious as well. Just the fucking absolute shit that they get up to, and the shit that they say. I've been watching them for fucking quite a while, and I think their merch is like known as childish. That's one of the things that they say a lot.
Mm-hmm.
There's some quotes here that I'll read to you, right? Just to sort of show you the absolute fucking nonsense that they say. And you sort of have to hear these like in his accent to make it like really funny, just and the situational. But here's some quotes for you, right? I'm sorry, bro. What's eyesight? Don't touch my fucking snacks, or I'll murder your family and sell a scooter on eBay.
What?
Exactly. It's so stupid.
Nonsensical shite.
Right. I'm not resting on a branch and having a back looking like Pythagoras' theorem.
What the fuck?
And yeah, this last one. What are you doing? I could have been lathered in diesel, bro. It's absolutely fucking stupid. But that's what makes it absolutely hilarious.
Uh,
Oh my god. Yeah, if you're into that sort of stuff, their videos are just fucking hilarious, man. How much shit they get up to, they'll like go and break their legs and do fucking tons of stuff, man. Like there was one instance where fucking what was it? They locked one of them in like a telephone box and just taped it up outside so that he couldn't get out, and I think he stayed in there for fucking hours and hours.
Jesus.
Ridiculous. But yeah, watching their stuff always gets a fucking laugh. So that's my last.
I see.
What is your last?
Well, my last one is a YouTuber by the name of Syriac. And it was tough because I had to choose between Syriac or David Firth, who's known for salad fingers. And what they do isn't necessarily similar, but they've got that sort of same vibe. So they're both animators, but Syriac animates a series of videos where it's just random. It's absolutely random. It's just mind-boggling how he's managed to do this. It's like one of the videos I first watched of his was called Cows, Cows, and Cows, which is literally just him animating a bunch of cows that he has a picture of and changing their bodies to be something else, and it just like streamlines across the field of many other things, like the cows turning into spiders and all that, and the music that goes along with it is just so out. It's so weird and out of world. It's like surreal. And one that you really like, I know, is the monkeys one. I think it's called Typewriter or something. And it's money. It's like monetary, called money or something. But it's about these chimps that are like typing on typewriters and all that, and it eventually gets to the point where the typewriters become a giant monkey, and then all you see is money and shit. It's just mad. Like his videos are mad. Like if you watch them, you're just like, how is he animated this by himself?
But they're just weirdly interesting.
Yeah, always been a big
They're both
fan
unsettling and interesting at the same time.
They really are. Like one of his really older ones was EastEnders, and it's literally just like zombies Halloween EastEnders version, where like a bunch of like the faces you'd recognize are like in like jars and all that, and he's like animated the guy. I can't mind his name. The one that goes, "I've got nothing left," to be like shot in the head or something.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, there's another YouTuber that I almost had on this list called Lee Hardcastle. There's a lot of like really good animators. Like they've all animated differently. It's like Syriac has his like he takes like a photo and he'll work off the photos and turn that into animations.
Yeah.
It's mad. And then you got David Firth who's not like I wouldn't say like phenomenal at drawing, but I would say he's well enough to animate with it. So he's got like salad fingers, he's got was it Burnt Face Man? He's got like a bunch of. He's really one of my favorite videos of him is I think called The Pill, or another one called it's about oil ailment oil or something like that, and it's like what I can do to like a society, and it's really interesting and surreal. But then you got Lee Hardcastle, who's all about claymation, who's done like videos like Hamster Hell, a bunch of like cat remakes of like horror movies, and something the one you'll recognize is the famous Simpsons video where
Oh
the
my
three bullies are
god, yeah.
burglars, and every one of them dies, and then I think Lisa's left, and then she's for some reason shot in the head by fucking Chief Wiggum, who's just came across the scene, and it's just mental. You actually get so devastated watching it.
Aye, because it's also what's like quite devastating about it as well is it plays. Oh, is it Moonlight Sonata
I think
that it
so.
plays, or is it something else?
It might be
But
something else.
some classical piece, and it's just, oh my god! I went watching that for the first time, and it just broke me. I was like, what the fuck?
All his
Have I
videos are
just witnessed?
brutal.
Oh my god!
I think he went on to do like bumpers for Adult Swim's like ad breaks now. But like I think I've just got a thing for like horror or fucking out of this world
Yeah.
surreal animated stuff.
The Syriac video that you mentioned that I know, it's called Chimpnology.
Chimpnology, that's it. It's all about
That's the one.
chimps. Because it literally works off the beat of the song, and the music itself works off like the chiming of a typewriter going off. It's mental.
Was it him that did Duck.exe, or was that someone else?
That was somebody else. It wasn't him.
That was somebody else.
That was that's like a Gary's mod SFM that works off like the Valve character models. But I really enjoy them. Syriac the most though. It boggles my mind how he does his shit. That I believe that finishes off on favourite YouTubers.
Yes, it does.
And that leads us on to characters you see yourself in, the final topic of today. And I suppose I'll start us off by... Oh, no, I'll explain what this means by characters you see yourself in. So it could be a range of things. It could mean a character that you see a character trait that you constantly have in yourself. Like maybe like they have a habit to do a pen that you really see yourself in. But the ones I've picked are more so like stuff that can like the worldview or stuff that they have trouble with on a general daily basis. And I'll start with like Aang from After the Last Airbender, which is a bit of a weird entry for me because it's more so to do with one episode he has where I see myself a lot in, which is in season 3 where he has very bad insomnia, where he could not fall asleep, and I related to that so much to the point because he's so focused on what he needs to do the next day, he can't sleep. Like he needs to fight the big baddie, and he just cannot sleep. He can't do anything. Eventually, he does. But I also really relate into his worldview of being a pacifist, and he can't kill folk. He can't bring himself to like injure folk or fight folk or like just generally like he can't accept killing. I see myself being like that too as a guy. I always hate seeing death, even if it's a guy who's not good. That's generally where I see myself in Aang.
Yeah, that's the thing about this this question. This topic, should I say? It doesn't necessarily have to be like a lot of that character, but just something in them, or something that they've done, or stuff like that. Because there'll be a lot of characters that are not like yourselves in many ways, but
yeah, I'm not like
just the one aspect.
A wee bald airbending kid.
No, but yeah, it's a good one though. My first one is actually Bernard Black from Black Books, right? Which, funny enough,
yes.
He's played by someone who's called Dylan.
Oh, right. Oh.
Right. But yeah, the thing about Bernard Black, he's almost like, if I was to have like the devil, the angel on your shoulder, right?
Oh my god.
He would be my devil, 100%.
Yes. Yes.
Because he's in the show. He's this like heavy alcoholic, and he's a smoker as well. So if I was to pick up smoking and get through as many as him, I'd end up trying to like him. You know what I mean? But he's just one of those people. He's quite careless in a way, and there's there's one scene that I remember, and it's like, he's like standing there, he's absolutely bamboozled, right? And Bill Bailey, I can't remember his name in the show, he appears and he's like, he walks up to him and he's like, "Yeah, right," and Bernard's like, "What time is it?" and Bill's like, "It's 10:30," and he's like, "10:30? I've never been up at this time. What happens?" And yeah, I resonate with that as well, because fucking, unless I'm working or, you know, I've got to get up for something like that, you know, something
Yeah.
like an appointment or whatever, I sleep for fucking ages.
Yep.
And that's one of the bad things about this like lockdown and whatnot, and not working, is I just sleep for ages. So a bit of that, you know, I can resonate with. Just the way he acts.
He likes his alcohol.
He very much. He's just the bad version of me, in many ways, you know.
You know, like, I think in the show as well, he owns a bookshop, but he could give a toss whether it's a functional workshop, a bookshop.
Yeah. Yeah.
Generally a funny character as well. Yeah, I definitely see a bit of you in him.
But yeah, that's my first one.
What
have you got next?
Of all the characters I was thinking about, my character traits, is one I couldn't find was somebody with memory problems, in terms of like can't retain information with a short term memory span, or can't quote. But every time I would try to find a character with memory problems like that, I would always find somebody who has amnesia, like Dory from Finding Nemo, or some cunt with who's had like memory problems because I got hit in the head like Wolverine and that. And I'm like, it's not even in the same ballpark as what I'm trying to get at. So I've decided to go with being indecisive, and there's no character better to like show that than the character from The Good Place, Chidi, who is the moral support of the group. He's always like being the good guy in this place, and he's always subjecting others to be better and all that. However, he is incredibly indecisive. He can't decide what he wants to eat. He can't decide what he wants to get. He can't decide what he wants to do. He's just incredibly unaware of what he wants. Like, he's never certain. Ever. Never certain. There's certain things he will be, but he always have doubts. Which just conveys a resonance with me that I has never felt more powerful. Always have doubts and I'm indecisive. It's fairly simple. I always feel like I should be the moral support of the group as well, so that's also something I could pick from him. But he's a good character.
Nice. Well, my second one is from one of my favourite shows, which I've mentioned before, and it's Dean Winchester from Supernatural. I see myself in him in quite a few ways, I guess. Just like one of them being he's a big fan of like classic rock and all that stuff, you know. Absolutely loves the Impala.
Yeah, he loves hentai.
No, none of that. not in that aspect. But yeah, and he loves fast food as well.
It's art.
And just, you know, stuff like that. I can kind of see myself being that. Definitely see myself more him than Sam. Yeah, like there's a few things with him. It's trying to remember all the points as well, you know. But just Dean Winchester. I feel like I can resonate with him. And I've watched the show like I think twice now. The new season's I think airing actually. I say the new season, the very last season. I think they've started it up again, so they're finishing off the episodes, and it'll be finito.
Yeah.
But Dean. That's my second one.
Aye. My third and last one is I wouldn't say obscure character, but like not very well known, and it's a guy called Ruben, or before he was named Ruben, Experiment 625, from Lilo and Stitch, the series, or rather his debut, Stitch the movie, and I've always been an unambitious person. I've not got like much like motivation to do stuff, nor do I want to like do big things. I always like doing mundane things, like have maybe like a night on a weekend, have enough money to like get me through the week, sort of thing. So like I resonate with 625. Like I've got the capability of doing big things, but I just don't have the motivation or ambition. So I'm like alright where I'm at, which is why 625, which is why Ruben is very much like me. He's got like the same genetic code as Stitch, so he's like extremely strong. He's extremely smart. He's able to climb walls, stick to walls or whatever, get extra arms, but he doesn't because his main passion in life is simple and mundane, and it's making sandwiches, and he likes making sandwiches. He could be so much more, but he doesn't got the motivation or want to. So like, I really really see that in myself as well.
Mm.
It's like I don't want to do anything. I want to do what I want to do. I don't want to like reach further than I have to. I want to be able to enjoy life. Aye, that wraps me up.
Well, I guess I will finish us off then. Mention my last one, which is Roy from IT Crowd. Now I've been compared to Moss, but I see myself in Roy more personally. Roy he's a lot more lazy. He's a lot more laid back, right? And like that's me a lot of the time. Oh my god, I can be generally so lazy some days. And he's the thing with Roy. He's quite an unlucky person, right? And there's been so many situations I've gotten into and just been unlucky myself, you know, with stuff. He spends a lot of time playing video games as well, right? As do I. Well, I'm trying to get away from that sort of stuff a bit. And he's one of those people who just I can't really be bothered doing work, or he'll try and make work. He'll try and like do the least amount of work as possible while still doing his job. For example, like in the show, there was the time when he set up the machine to answer the calls for him. Do you remember that one?
Yeah.
Just stuff like that, you know. I can see that in me, you know.
You're just
this lazy, can't be bothered, fucking doing whatnot.
You're just Roy and Moss merged together. The personality of Roy
just merged
with the sound and looks of Moss.
The bloody door.
Have you tried turning it off and back on again?
Quality show.
Was it Moss or was it Roy that got stuck underneath the desk in the lady's office room?
Oh, that was Roy.
That's amazing.
that was Roy.
He's a good character. That was a funny moment.
He was fixing the computer and he went underneath to like get the cable, and then that's when she came in and he's like, oh no, I'm under here. And she gets fucking stuck.
He's also a hopeless romantic, isn't he?
I think so. Yes.
Because like he went on his date and he decided, instead of being nice, I'll be mean. I'll be the bad guy. I'll be The bad boy.
Yeah, he wears like the leather
The
jacket
shades.
and all that.
The shades that constantly change every few fucking times it clips back to him. I love that. That's amazing. But does that wrap us up entirely then?
Yeah, I think that's the end of episode 11 for us.
Yes, it was. It was a good one.
Aye.
If any cunt's still listening, thank you for listening. And I'll just say goodbye and come back next week, hopefully.
Alright. Ta-da.